Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back. New hairstyle, for the moment. It's going to probably change next week. You know how we but I am back with a new episode of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions, and we are in the Horizons Author Lounge tonight talking with Miss Chanel Wesley. And I have never met this young lady before, but I feel like I have because I've been seeing her name everywhere. And all my friends seem to be a part of this awesome anthology that she's doing. So I was so excited when she said she was going to be on the show. And I was like, yes. So everybody, please help me welcome Miss Chanel Coleman Wesley.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Dr. Lawson. I duly appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I appreciate you being here. And I know we were supposed to actually meet, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but, life be life. And so.
Girl, tell me about it.
You're on at just the right time. You have a whole anthology that's going to be released October 12th. So today is October 2nd. So I think we're doing all right.
I love it. Timing couldn't be better.
Exactly. So, well, before we jump into the anthology, I did want, first of all, introduce yourself to the people. And then second, I wanted to know about this movement to say, she said yes to herself movement, because I'm thinking the anthology is a part of the movement, but the movement is the umbrella of it all.
It is. That's a really good question. Thanks so much for asking it. She said yes to herself unapologetically. Really kind of stemmed from said yes to herself unapologetically. The ideology behind it is about most of the times women as nurturers, we often serve from empty cups. We're serving everyone else, and then we're taking the scraps, and then we're, not fulfilled. We're not getting the things that we need. And so it's really about women being able to be standing in their divinely designed purpose and understanding that they can't serve from empty cups. God's gift to us is what's in the cup, and our gift to everyone else is the overflow. So that ideology is what kind of sparked the summits. The summits helped to produce the movements. She said yes to herself unapologetically. The anthology was birthed from that. And I'm just excited about this project. When I say I'm just truly blessed to be connected with so many powerful women. Our publisher, Laquita Parks, Dr. Velma Bagby, Dr. Trivia Payne. I mean, it's so many people that are connected to this anthology. Yadira Gonzalez Munez with I Am Magazine, her sister Jennifer Thompson, so many various women, individuals, change agents, leaders in their respective fields have really joined together for the sole purpose of pouring passionately, purposefully, and powerfully into women. And when you have something like that, it's just magnetic.
This is a really, really valuable movement because, for so long, especially Black women, and I'm sure this is probably true of a lot of different cultures, but speaking as a Black woman myself, I know what it's like when you're trying to be everything to everybody and you're trying to do so much. And then people will look at you as being unapproachable or combative if you say no, like, how dare you say no, or how dare you put yourself first? And often when you do that, it just makes it so difficult. You're like, I want to be there for myself, but I keep putting myself last because I'm expected to be there for everybody else. And I'm wondering if that's what inspired this movement for you.
Really, you know what? I would say this, Dr. Lawson. One of the things that really kind of hit home to me and registered the first time I was on an airplane, you hear the stewardess give you, or the flight attendant give you your commands. And one of the things that they'll say to you, if for any reason the cabin loses pressure, the oxygen mask is going to come down. We want you to put it, correctly on yourself. And then after you've done it for yourself, then you could do it for someone else. Instinctively, I'm thinking like, that's evil. Like, why wouldn't you try to help other people? Why would you just put it on for yourself and then try to help other people? Right? Because, instinctively, our nature is to serve. And so that's what we want to do. And it's almost like going against the grain, even in your own mind, even with your own fiber of your being. just because that's environment, that's how we're taught, that's how we're raised. We see, the epitome of strength with our mothers and grandmothers, aunts, women in the community, women in the church. You just see them in this, all powerful superhero role. And it's some big shoes to follow. And you feel like you have to do all the things. And if you're not doing all the things, then you're not doing womanhood right. And so just, taking away from that conversation and just really internalizing what that meant. You can't step up to show up for everybody else that's important on your team if you yourself don't have your needs met. How are you going to really be able to serve to the capacity in which you were created if you're on an empty tank? You only have so much in your tank.
And I really feel like we are just really starting to understand that. And what I say that because, like I said, for a long time, we were expected to be there for everybody. If, like, for instance, I have some degrees, I have a good job. So because I have a good job, I'm supposed to provide for everybody. And if I say, no, I have bills to pay myself, then all of a sudden I'm being selfish. And all of a sudden I think I'm all that. She didn't got them degrees, and now she don't know how to act. She got that good job, and now she doesn't know how to act. And what we wind up doing is we start to internalize that, and we punish ourselves just for wanting to do something for ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's the fact that you do have those degrees. So guess what? You have degree bills to pay. And if you have a nice house, guess what? You got mortgage or rent to pay too. And all the things of life isn't going to just say, well, you've accomplished these things, so here's a free ride. You have to work for everything that you're given. And so many times, like I said, women are mischaracterized. We're taken in the wrong light if we are assertive. And if we recognize that, hey, it's okay to say no. And, there was a time when I said yes with my mouth, but my body, my spirit, everything within me was like, no, why are you saying yes? But I would still say yes. And one thing that I can say now, I'm very authentic. If I say yes to you, it's because I'm in a space, in a place where I can serve in that capacity. But I also recognize when I can't, and I'm going to say that too. And I understand that no is a complete sentence, and it doesn't require a conversation or explanation.
Now, do you think that there is actually a such thing as maybe saying no too much?
Absolutely. I think you can take either idea to an extreme. You know what I mean? I think everything in moderation. I think there are times when you can, allow yourself to miss out on opportunities, on connections, on collaborations by always being a no. You know what I mean? I think there are definitely times when yes is required and necessary if we're going to grow, if we're going to evolve, if we're going to go to that next level. So I think both are important, and both should be in your toolbox. You should be able to say both yes and no.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, where did the anthology fit in? And what are we actually talking about in the anthology?
Girl, I mean, it's so much. When I tell you, I am so excited about this project. I mean, when I tell you the women have left no stone unturned, it's a little bit of everything. There's no woman who could look at this and say, there's not one story I could resonate. There's something. Whether or not we're talking about dealing with the enemy within, because sometimes we can be the problem. Whether or not, we're needing some encouragement and you need somebody to tell you, hey, get up, sis, let's get this, let's go. Or whether you're dealing with medical trauma, whether or not you've dealt with sexual abuse, the loss of a loved one, a loss of a child. Sometimes those relationships that make you question yourself and say, girl, how did I get here? Yeah. How did I end up here? So like I said, there's really no stone unturned when I say each of these women, understood the assignment, took it on wholeheartedly, and just really pushed the envelope and made sure that they were just pouring of themselves, not only just giving amazing content information, but also gifting of themselves and just really going above and beyond. It's an amazing work. I'm so excited for our publisher, which is Laquita Parks, with Pay Pro V Publishing, our amazing editor, Kimberly Parks. The stories were well thought out. We had sessions. It was a powwow. I mean, it's so much stuff that I'm like, I can't wait to get this book because it was just that good. There were some submissions that I had to read 2 and 3 and 4 times because it was just that powerful. When I tell you, they sprinkling all kinds of secret sauce, and you know how you somebody cook some sauce, you're like, girl, what you gonna put in that sauce? Let me see what you're working with. And they tell you, like, girl, I'm finna stew these tomatoes, and then I'm finna go ahead and cut some fresh basil, some oregano. That's how it was like. It was, you could just smell the aroma, all the things. Like when I say they really left no stone unturned, everything was pulled out. They poured of themselves.
You don't have to go through every single one, but what are some of the subjects that they tackled in the book?
Some of the subjects that are tackled, like I said, kind of dealing with self-sabotage, talk about depression. We have some submissions that talk about, one of my favorites, the list, trying to make sure that, number one, you learn from your lessons and that you don't repeat it. You don't find yourself in familiar settings like, wait a minute, how I end up here again? We talk about things that's dealing with overcoming limiting beliefs. We talk about developing a mogul mindset. We talk about walking boldly within your divinely designed purpose. We're talking about things that's going to deal with your perception. Sometimes how we see things can be an issue. We're talking about, how to constitute healthy relationships. There's sometimes people are going through various traumas and they're holding on to baggage and luggage. We talk about exposing those things. There's a submission that talks about let it go. Because sometimes you can hold on to stuff and you think that by holding on to this thing that you're punishing this person and this, but you truly are punishing yourself.
It's like unforgiveness is like drinking poison and waiting for to die.
It's self-imprisonment. And one particular aspect that I'm really excited about is we have our Dr. Chichi Nwango Ezek. She is doing something on health, talking about that health and wellness, because when you're saying yes to yourself, it's a complete package. It's not just about, a mantra or a vibe. It's more of a lifestyle. It's what we're putting into our bodies, what we're allowing to come out from us, because the word of God said out of the mouth, the issues of the heart speak. So you got to address those things that we're carrying around. We have to be able to deal with these things and be able to walk and confront those things so we can walk in our purpose.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Now, how did you meet all of these ladies?
I would say some ladies I knew already, like Dr. Velma Bagby, like Ivory Caldwell, Carolyn Coleman. Some ladies I met through someone said, look, hey, you got to be in this. So let me introduce you guys. And so I met some amazing people that way. Some was a response to an author call, like, hey, does this fit you? Is it something that you're interested in? And like what I can say is that although I did not handpick them, God handpicked them. He brought us together for this purpose. When I say this is something that's going to be uplifting, encouraging, motivating, but it's also going to provide some practical tips, tools, and strategies to help women level up in every level, in every way imaginable.
So is that the book cover behind you?
No, this is what started it, which is She Said Yes. We're actually we've been unveiling the cover. We're really excited about it. Our publisher, Laquita, was the person who designed it. We're really excited about that. And so we'll be putting those things up next week. So we're excited about rolling those things out, but we're really, like I said, it's going to be amazing. When I say women are really going to be well served with this is something that you have to have. It's a must have. And the ebook is releasing on the 12th for 99 cents. And it's only going to be doing that for the first few days for the ebook. It's like a giveaway. So it's not even something you got to think about, like, do I need this? Yes, sis, you do. Absolutely.
That's less than a cup of coffee.
I'm telling you, I mean, and you're getting all of these amazing authors. And what I can say is it won't stay that way. It's going to be that way for a limited time only. So I would say go ahead and jump in, grab that ebook, get connected. Another amazing opportunity that we provided with this particular anthology is women got a chance to be able to bring their businesses alongside this anthology. Right. So there are various levels of expertise and the things that they're able to provide services to the women, because it was all about trying to build healthy relationships and not just going beyond a submission, trying to, again, provide them with practical tools, tips, and strategies so that they can go ahead and experience their own yes.
Awesome, awesome. Now, where can people find the book?
The book is available on Amazon for pre-order right now. It is under She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically. They'll see the Empower Her guide. Not this one right here, but it'll be another cover, and it's under my name, Chanel Coleman. That's my writing alias. As a kid, I always say, I'm going to have my name on a book. And so there we go, Chanel Coleman. And so they'll see it there. And like I said, if you're ready for your life to be transformed, if you're ready to say, you know what, I'm tired of living life like this, I want something else, then this book is for you. If you're saying to yourself, you know what, I'm ready to, sometimes I've been leaving some things on the table and I haven't been taking everything off the table, the book is for you.
All right. I love that. So, so now you said the book is available for pre-order. So, but if they're pre-ordering the book, they're not going to be able to get it signed. But there's so many different authors. It's probably hard to get everybody to sign the book. So do you have any book signings coming up?
We have an extensive calendar. So right now the ebook is coming out first. We're actually going to do a separate launch for the physical book. And we'll be releasing some dates with that really soon. We're going to be doing some empowerment events. We're actually trying to take She Said Yes to Herself to church. That's right. So if you have a church group, that's thinking, okay, how do we really want to build up our women's ministry? We want to see our women grow, and they're waiting, open to being able to connect with some amazing leaders and change agents across the globe, then this is definitely the project that you want to bring to your women's group, because like I said, no one is going to pour more passionately, purposefully, and powerfully into women than these amazing co-authors. When I tell you, they are showing up to serve, they are showing up and showing out. So I'm just, like I said, again, I'm so excited to be able to stand with these amazing women.
Well, I congratulate you. And I'm putting the website for She Said Yes to Herself.com in the chat. So anybody who's watching, make sure that you support this movement, support this book. Because it sounds like whether you are having trouble saying no in a professional setting or having trouble saying no in the family setting, you're still going to be able to get something out of this book.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So for those of you who can't see it, here's the website right here. We don't want any excuses why you didn't order the book. So what else is planned now? Because I know this isn't the end of the story.
Absolutely not. We're definitely going to be having a call for book 2. Like I said before, we're going to be having an extensive calendar. I'm excited because we have some global authors who are connected with this opportunity as well. So the people who have been doing some of our pre-reads are very excited about it. It's been performing very well. And so that's really good. We will be on Cyrus Webb's show on Amazon and on his Blog Talk Radio coming up very soon. We're also going to be on Ivy Caldwell's show. So we have a lot of things that are happening for October and down the line with Trivia's Inspirational Radio Network and some other entities that we're connected to, that we're really excited about all the things that are happening. People are really excited. Those who attended the summits and things have been like, they wanted more from some of the speakers, and we have some of the speakers who are actually some of the co-authors in this particular project. So again, it's just come full circle.
I think that is, and I know you've been saying secret sauce a lot. And I don't know if you saw the comment from Mark Bolsajor earlier saying he's getting hungry because he heard you talking about the secret sauce. But I think part of that secret sauce is having supportive authors in the anthology, people who want to see the book be successful, not just you, not just the publisher, but everybody who wants to see this book be successful is taking part in it.
Absolutely. One of the things that was very unique about this particular opportunity was I felt like it was important to bring in coaching for the authors. just to be able to help them to be more well-rounded. And so I brought in my coach, who is Lachelle Atkins. She is America's Supermom, and she is phenomenal. When I tell you, she is a marketing guru, but also she helps people to be able to identify and deal with depression and various things. She's a vitality coach, and she really helps you to be able to juggle what's on your plate, because sometimes you can feel that sense of overwhelm and you need moments of clarity. And also just helping the authors to be able to see a different opportunities to be able to advance their business and their bottom lines as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, so it sounds like you have a pretty aggressive schedule. You're going into churches, you're doing tours, you have the signings. How are you going to pace yourself doing all of this?
We're thinking that it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So we're definitely sprinkling out things here and there, things to be able to, again, to provide engagements and also for connection, because again, ultimately we want to be able to serve. And so because we have, 30 plus co-authors, it provides us the opportunity to be able to have some type of creativity on how we show up, and making those opportunities available for people in various spaces geographically, and also according to, what really their skill sets are as well. So like I said, we really want to be able to give a comprehensive look at women. We want them to look at their whole health, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and relationally. So that's something that we're very focused driven on, and something that we're very passionate about.
What is your ultimate goal once everything is said and done? What is your goal? What is that vision that you would like to see come to fruition?
I want to see women's lives positively impacted. I want women to be able to be served. If we are able to serve the women that we come in connection with, and their lives have been changed, then our job is done. And that's really what you want when you're a servant leader. When you're a servant leader, your job is to make sure that you complete the assignment.
Yeah.
And so that's really what each co-author really brought to this project. They brought their heart, they poured their heart on pages, they yielded their expertise and their time and their talents and their wisdom. And they really wanted to be able to pen something that was going to be almost like a mantra, something that was going to both inspire and provoke and challenge women to really step into themselves. Because sometimes, you can minimize yourself because what other people are saying, but sometimes we're the problem. Sometimes we're the ones who give them the negative self-talk and questioning who we are and what God has called us to do. So sometimes you need to hear somebody say, look, sis, let's pick up this pace, let's go. We don't got time to waste. And so it provides that kick in the pants too, because sometimes you have to be pushed, sometimes you have to be prodded or provoked into moving into the spaces and places that God has designed for you.
I'm glad you said that, because and I know I that was something that I recognized in myself a long time ago. I had to change that. Sometimes we sit and wait for permission to be great. We might have a lot to offer, but because nobody asked us, we keep it aside. And I think that's a big part of this movement, is saying it's okay to step forward and show people who you are, and show people your growth, and show people your talents. You don't have to keep it all inside because you're afraid somebody's going to say that you're bragging on yourself, or that you're self-promoting, or things to that effect. And I think that often happens because, unfortunately, there are people out there who will punish you for stepping forward. They will punish you for feeling that you're great, and that we have this attitude that everybody's supposed to be humble and not say anything. We even see it in sports. A football team wins the game. Well, they better not say anything because there's still 15 weeks to go. The fan gets excited. We're gonna go to the Super Bowl. You still got 10 more weeks to go. I don't know why you're excited now. And so to punish people for not being humble. But then if they are too humble, we don't push them up. We don't pull them. You never told me you knew how to do this or that.
I think it's a space to be humble, but it's also a space, baby, to toot that horn. Go ahead and clap for you. Go ahead and celebrate. I'm all about celebration because if you can't root for you and you can't clap for you, then who can you depend on to show up for you if you're not going to show up for you? So I
Absolutely.
think you are your best spokesperson. No one can advocate for you better than yourself because you've been with you the longest. You know what you like and what you don't like, and you know what you need. And so, like I said, it's all about celebration over here. The networking and collaborating has been, I mean, phenomenal. When I say it's beautiful to see women step together and band and connect and be able to really applaud one another. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're not saying it for yourself, somebody else is rooting and cheering you on. So it's an amazing space to be in.
Amen to that. Well, I'm going to show the link one more time to the website. She said yes to herself.com. So make sure you guys go out, order this book. So how long will pre-sales last? Will they last up until the 12th, or will they stop at a certain date prior to the 12th?
So they can go ahead. The pre-sales will go up until the 12th. On the 12th, the book is going to go live. We're doing the ebook first. So you guys can find that on Amazon. If you look up Amazon for the ebook is going to go live on the 12th. You can pre-order right now. Again, it is 99 cents. It will only be 99 cents for a limited time only. After that, we'll be announcing the date for the physical copy, and we'll be doing a separate launch for that. So people can get their handheld book and also work on getting those things signed, and just depending on who they get it from. But if they come to an empowerment event, they'll see multiple authors and they'll be able to have multiple people sign their books.
All right. Now, the next empowerment event is when?
We're going to be announcing that after the launch. But we'll make sure that we'll send you the info. I know. We were keeping the wraps on it, and we're doing something big to announce it, so I can't spoil it.
Fine.
I'm sorry, Dr. Lawson. I'm sorry.
You don't keep it a secret from me if you wind up coming to the DMV.
I definitely plan on, actually, when I come, I do plan on coming up there. And so when I do, we are definitely gonna have to do lunch or something. Yes. Well, I'm here for all of that.
All right. Now, is Dr. Audrienne a part of this as well?
Yes, she is.
That's what I thought. That's my girl.
Dr. Audrienne Moses is a part of this book. We have Ocean Kent, who's a part of this book, Cherise King, Cherise Hackney. We have Kimberly Lechnick. We have Yadira Gonzalez Munez, who is the owner and CEO of I Am Magazine.
A little power book. You know, all of these big power players in your book.
Mm-hmm. Tracy Hester Glass is in this book. I mean, when I tell you, it's so many women, they were in love with the idea of pouring into women. And when you get people who want to do this, they're not doing it because somebody is twisting their arm,
Right.
someone's making them. They're showing up to serve because they believe it was their God-ordained purpose. And so when I tell you, I'm so excited. Dorian Evans, Chanel Scott, Anita Newsom, who is the biz coach, Kate Thurman. When I tell you, just amazing women, Jacqueline Cox, Carolyn Coleman. Like I said, there are so many powerhouses that are connected to this project. When I say you cannot read this book and not have something that ministers to your spirit, there's no way. I'm convinced. Every day, you know, sometimes you can do something and you be like, I don't know how that's gonna go. This is one of the things I'm like, yes, boo, I'm clapping, I'm snapping. When I tell you I can't wait, it is just that amazing. And when I tell you, just phenomenal stories that are inspiring, that I just really have the capacity just to grip your heart. Like I said, it's not all pie in the sky. It gives you some practical tips and solutions, how you can maneuver and how you can overcome, how you can experience this too. Ways to be able to connect with them. Because sometimes, you know, you might read something, or you might hear something, you're like, I really would like to be able to connect with them, but I don't even know how. We made that very easy.
Yeah.
for you to be able to follow up and to be able to connect with these amazing women who are change agents in their own right. So when I tell you this project is something that I'm very proud of, you
Well,
know. And I'm not one of the people who be like bragging all the time. I'm proud of this. Just let that be known. I'm proud of this.
good, because your excitement is contagious. So thank you so much for sharing tonight. Thank you for coming on the show to promote the anthology. I know that it's going to be beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations in advance. And I'm just excited for you. And I'm looking forward to seeing the book. I will be pre-ordering my copy. And
Thank
like I
you.
said, if you ever need Horizons support, Meet the World Image Solution support, you know where I am.
I definitely do. I want to thank you for being such a gracious host. I truly appreciated this time. It was a powerful connection. And like I said, when I get to Maryland, I would definitely be looking you up.
All right, that's what I love to hear. Well, you have a wonderful evening. God bless you and everything that you do.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. All right, that was author Chanel Wesley, and she is promoting her new anthology. She said yes to herself unapologetically. So y'all make sure you order your copy. I put the link in the chat, so don't miss out on that. So Chanel, once again, thank you so much, and we will see you soon.
Thank you again.
Have a great one. All right, so we're about to bring on our next guest, author Miss Daphne. She is already backstage waiting to come on, but you know what I do every week? I have to remind you guys that if you have a book, you have an event, if you have a business and you need exposure for that book, event, or business, I have an amazing special for you right here. We are supporting Miss Beautiful Lawson, who will be going to the National All-American Miss Pageant in Orlando. And we want to make sure that she gets there. So what we have done is we have become her official sponsor. We are going to be slashing our publicity prices, slashing them. Those are real prices. That's not a price I made up. So we have slashed our prices, and the money that we raise for these publicity packages will be going to Miss Beautiful Lawson, so she can get ready for the National All-American Miss Pageant. It's going to be in November, her birthday week, and we want to make sure that she gets there and that she does amazing. She was fourth runner-up at the state level, so she qualified to go to the national level. But this time, we want her to get the title. So we have 3 different packages, and all of them will allow you to get exposure to up to or more than 6,000 people. How are you going to be able to do that with these little bitty prices anywhere else? You're not going to be able to do that. So if you'd like more information about that, make sure you message me, and I will get you the information that you need so you can be a part of this awesome opportunity to get exposure for your book, your business, or your event. So now let's go ahead and bring in our next guest, Miss Daphne Jackson. Hey, Daphne.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for having me, Dr. Rhonda.
Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate that.
I'm honored. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you are here. First of all, tell everybody about yourself, who you are, and then let's jump into this book.
Okay, well, I'm Arthur Daphne Jackson. I actually published my book March 17, 2022. Prior to that, I'm a social worker. I'm a licensed medical social worker. I also work with family and children as well. I'm a mom first, to an amazing son who he's on the spectrum, which is autism. He is 4 years old. So that is pretty much who I am. I'm a daughter, sister. I volunteer a lot at the Boys and Girls Club. That's pretty much who I am.
What I would tell you, because I think being a social worker, therapist, things like that, professions like that, you have to have really broad shoulders because you're carrying so much. What was it that interested you into getting into these fields?
You know what's interesting is I always tell people that social work chose me,
Mm,
because honestly, you know, in high school, when you get to that point when you're choosing your next level, you know, what you're going to do with your life, I had a trouble junior and senior year, but I was always very smart, you know, and I always wanted to go to college, but my high school counselor, you know, she was like, "You going to college?" And so I just looked over the majors and I was like, you know, I'm gonna be a social worker. I like that one. And you know, now that I'm in the field, I've been in the field quite some time. I honestly say it chose me. You know, it all makes sense. You know, it's my purpose.
and so is that what led you to write Two Phase?
No, I wanted to be an author from that was, you know, like when you are young and you're like, when I grow up, I'm gonna be. I always said I was going to be an author. My elementary school teachers, they encouraged it. They loved my creative writing projects. But, you know, when you get older, and it's just something that I didn't really think about like that, writing. But for my 25th birthday, I had a vision board party
Oh, I
and
love
I
vision.
wrote best. Yeah, like it's because you put it on that board, you know, and it's just like, okay, it's intentional because you have to plan it, you have to sit there. So I
Yes.
wrote bestseller on there, but I didn't know what I would write about. I didn't have a story in me, you know, like what would I write about? And now that was in 2018 when I wrote that. And I didn't even know, I was already expecting, didn't even know I was a week away from graduating from my graduate program. And but I didn't write the book until 20 it was published in 2022. I didn't start writing the book until like 2020. So
Mm.
that was like 2 years later. And I started writing the book during the pandemic when I actually had the time to it started calling me. I used to wake up like 2 o'clock in the morning and get my phone, like I got to get this out of my brain and put it
Yes.
in. So it was time to write that book because I could every I mean it was like I
Um,
had to because every time I just
I
had to.
started writing when all you could do with a phone was either text or call. You couldn't put notes in it. You couldn't do anything with the phone. I know I just made myself sound real old saying that, but if I had an idea that popped in my head, I had to get a napkin. I had to get a
Yes.
search program.
It's
Whatever
that serious for real.
I had, or I'd carry a notepad. I had to do something. I had to get that idea out. But now with
Mhm.
all of this technology, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I'll just talk into my phone. I'll type something into my.
Yes.
So I totally feel you on that.
I had to get it out, and that's how it came to be. And I knew that it was meant to be because the story was flowing. I got it all out. You know, I did have moments with writer's block and things like that, and I
Yeah.
became very vulnerable when it was time to actually push it out, like publish it. I was like, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm crazy. I should never just thought to do this because I was journaling. I was in therapy during the time. Like it was a time. Honestly, I was a new mom. It was a time.
Well, tell me about the story.
Okay, well, Two Faced. Can I show you the book?
Sure.
Okay, so this is Two Faced, and so Two Faced is about. I like to say that it is about so much. From a young perspective, from a teenage adolescent's perspective, is a becoming story, but for an adult, it is a inner child healing story.
Mm,
And in this book, I talk a lot about family dynamics, you know, and that is how we all connected to our families, you know, spiritually, emotionally, financially, how we all contribute to each other. Because I don't think people realize that, you know, that sometimes things don't even, you don't see how things affected you in your childhood until you're an adult and you see the
right.
relationships that you create. But I talked a lot about the family dynamics, the relationship between mother and daughter, mother and father, you know, in the family unit, siblinghood, education. I talked about just, yeah, all of that. School, like when I talked about education, I talked about how, you know, when they say, well, they used to tell me that education is the key to success, you
Yeah.
know, and for me, I was smart, but really school was my escape from my home environment. And I truly feel like the person that I am today is because of my educators, you know, and these days we have the youth who, you know, they don't see it that way. You know, they think of their teachers the way that they treat their teachers these days, but for my educators, and I did it too. I was the at-risk youth. I was not in a private school or anything. I was from a low income family. They called us at-risk youth, of pregnancy, suicide, that's what you call at risk of jail, incarceration. And I talked about that, and I talked about it. I didn't talk about it in a clinical way. I could have. I am a social worker, but I told a story. I put a name on it because that's what we need. We have to put a name on it. And for a long time, you would ask me what's wrong or what's going on. I would try to, go around it and make it very small and not so big. But in this book, I told a story so you can picture it. You can have something to talk about. These are the conversations that we need to have, with our children. And it makes you question yourself as an adult. It was very healing, honestly.
So you were able to really pull from your profession and add it to the book. So do you feel like that helped you to add more layers to your characters?
Absolutely. That's why I say that the social work profession chose me, because I have so many experiences. I live vicariously through a lot of my clients, and I'm so, I can relate to them. I can listen to it. Sometimes it's heavy, but I feel like I was chosen to do it. I can handle it. And so when I wrote the book, I was able to draw, some of those experiences and put it in a book, because if I didn't see this, if I was disconnected from it, I wouldn't have been able to write this book. So, yeah.
That's a huge point that you just made, being connected and being with it. But now at the same time, do you think that it's, and this is probably going back to the profession, but when you are so connected, do you find it hard to disconnect when it's time to disconnect?
At this point in my life, I can say no. I told you that I was in therapy. Earlier in my career, I worked jobs. And one of my jobs, I had to get escorted out. This is an exclusive, but it was just so heavy. I worked in a juvenile facility, but it was kind of like a juvenile facility. We had children who were misplaced because of the foster care system. They didn't have enough homes. On the other side, it was substance addiction. And I was the counselor, and the stories, me trying to process with them, I just wasn't healed. It just was like, who am I to try to help them? Because I would always break down, and it just took a whole toll on me. I was messed up. And so I was like, you know what? Oh God, let me get myself together. So now as an adult, I live, I have a inner child in me that I don't mind, putting out now. As much as I'm an adult, I do things that are uplifting to me spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. I express through my son. I take him everywhere. We do great things. I have so much fun with him. I'd rather hang around him than adults because it's fun. I do my hobbies. I'm big on coping skills. I'm big on coping skills as an adult. I like to do things. I fill up my schedule. I try new things. And that's what helped me, self-care, honestly, and self-preservation.
Let's talk a bit about self-care. I don't know if you heard the last interview where we were talking about often women putting themselves on the back burner and, putting themselves last while putting everybody else first and feeling guilty about taking care of themselves. Do you often see that a lot in your day-to-day?
Yes, I do. And I'm gonna go back to my career. I was just with I seen 3 clients. I told you I work with medical social work aspect where I do home health, and I also work with children and families, and both of them together are a lot. But in my working with the adults in my home health part of my job, I just had a conversation with 2 of my clients. They are married women. They have grown children, and most of the time they are taking on the caregiver role of their spouses. And just this last weekend, I had 2 women break down to me because they can't remember the last time they did something for themselves, and they said that I'm devoted to my husband, because that's how we were taught. These women are older than me. I'm not even 30. These women, both of them said the same thing. They were like, we were raised to take care of our husband. My husband is my responsibility. So I don't see, I don't see it as I need to do anything for myself, but I'm breaking down. I'm breaking down
Right.
because, I'm just taking on this. I'm doing this. I'm making sure he do this. I'm making sure he's doing that because their husbands, are on medical declining, medically. And the wife, they didn't know, like, the last time. Cause I'm like, what have you done for yourself lately? And they don't talk about it to anyone. They're like, well, I don't talk about it to my friends. I don't want to seem like I'm complaining about my responsibility as a wife or, and I'm like, so, and that vulnerability, they haven't said anything to anybody. They don't want to seem weak or vulnerable or like they're complaining about it, and so I was like, wow,
Wow.
I encourage it. I don't feel like it's selfish. I feel like it's very much necessary.
Not at all. Now, do you find yourself, or when you were writing the book, do you draw from some of those experiences? I know we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier.
Absolutely. I do draw from a lot of those experiences, especially now that I'm I'm a mom. I talked a lot about my relationship with my mom and her role. When I was younger, I felt like I had I would put a huge responsibility on my mom. My mom had three children lived with her, but she had a total of 5 kids. And so me as a sensitive, I was more sensitive than my siblings, but I didn't show it because I would just felt like I didn't want to be another problem to her. But I still, you see your parents as like superheroes. You think they're supposed to do all this and that. But when you grow and you get older and you have your own children, and your mom always used to say, when you have your own children, you'll understand. But I'm like, wow, I have one child and, I understand now how she felt, it's very overwhelming. And as a woman, the strength that it takes to, just maneuver and balance it all. And especially if you're healing yourself and you have your own things that you need to heal from and deal with, but you're taking care of, this person and that person, it's a lot, so definitely in my book, like it definitely.
So the book, it's a fiction, correct?
No, my book is nonfiction.
It's nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
It's
nonfiction.
The description, I felt like you were touching on real subjects, but it felt like a nonfiction. A fiction book.
A lot of people ask me that, and it's so funny because I wish that I was like an author back in the day, like because my favorite author, who even encouraged me to, that told me that I can write a book because I didn't know we could just write a book. I'm like, it's gonna be censored. You can't just put certain stuff. But when I read books by Sister Souljah, No Disrespect, Coldest One to Ever, those books.
Yes.
What's the Portia? Deeper Love Inside. When I read her books, I was like, I can write a book. I could really tell my story and I can really draw from my experiences because it's just as much as some of this is personal. This book is beyond personal. It's not just personal. This is real life things that this stuff is generational. It's family, varies from family to family. I tell people, I feel like anybody can relate in some way to this story. And so, yeah, definitely.
And now you're going to be taking the show on the road, so to speak, because I noticed that you're going to be a part of an event that a good friend of mine is hosting, called Sexy with a Pen.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about Sexy with a Pen. That is so amazing, raising funds.
First of all, I just love the title. I'm like, come on, LaTracy, come on, do your thing.
I'm trying to tell you, look, I'm out here like Sexy with a Pen. I'm going to this. Who not going Sexy with a Pen? Come on now. How can I got to go to it. Like she got down with that for real.
She did. Yes. She did. So, what are you going to be doing? You're going to be signing your book there?
I don't even know. It's her event. I just know that the calls. That's why I was there, and it was the calls. And so I don't know what I would love to. Now I have been a part of several of her events where I have signed books. So and she has my book in her store. So I go there and sign books.
Awesome.
Yeah. But if I would sign it as Sexy with the Pen, I wouldn't. I keep a pen on me.
Well, Dr. LaTracy is going to be on the show next week, talking about the event. So I'm looking forward to that. But she and I have been rocking for a long time. She supported me. I've supported her. which is the way it should be. So I was happy to see that you were one of the authors who were going to be a part of that event.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what it's about. We need authors supporting authors. We need women supporting women, and that's what it's all about, honestly. And I knew about you through her. I was like, she's always putting everybody on. You gotta love her, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out there passing out those sexy with a pen flyers at homecoming too this weekend.
Dr. Yoma said yes.
Can't deny it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about since we're talking about, women empowerment. That's kind of what you was talking about. You was like, I supported her, she supported me. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about self-preservation because this is it's a very important topic for me. And from reading my book, and I do encourage everybody to get this book. It's on Amazon. It's way less now. It was like $20 when I first launched it, but now it's like $5, $6, and that's how much it started when I was running my bestseller campaign. It started off $6. Yeah.
Well, I did put the link in the chat, so everybody click on that link. It's a really long link, so that's why I haven't put it on the screen. But it is it's a really long link. But
I see.
But it is in the chat. Click on that link and purchase this book. But
yes, and it pass it down generations to generations.
Yes.
But yes, I wanted to talk about self-preservation because I know as women, like you said, we give a lot of ourselves, and I told you I said a lot in my my profession. And one thing that I've learned, even as in my youth, that's why my book is called Two-Faced. It's a big play on words because a lot of times we wear a face. And I heard Arthur Chanel talking about that too. But when you're, especially in survival mode, you put on a face to survive. I was doing it a lot when I was younger, just to survive, in school. I want to, my teachers, I want to be smart, but around certain environments, I just don't be my full self because, I'm just trying to survive, and so, and not just stepping into my full potential. And as that manifested as an adult, I was just very in situations. It's also at home. My mom used to say that I talk too much when I would challenge her about something that I don't, that I don't like. It was always, you talk too much. You think you run stuff, and I got this, but I was just speaking up on some things that I saw that wasn't right. And it manifested as I got older. And when I would be quiet about things that I would be quiet in situations that I could have thrived in. In environments where I could really thrive here, but I just was scared. I don't want to be seen. I was scared to be seen, so, and now we live in a world where we have social media where everybody want to be seen, because that's the viral thing to do, and at first I was finding myself in that space where I did want to be seen because that's what it's about, advocacy. You have to be seen. You can't hide yourself, because that's how you make yourself known now on social media. But I do say that when you have a purpose, it has to be structured around your purpose. Being seen has to be structured around your purpose, and also keeping certain things to yourself and taking time to yourself. Yes. Protecting yourself. That's even in relationships, because I see that like with a lot of women, men too, relationships. The self-preservation, doing things that are well for you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, having that time to yourself, to get to know yourself, to, rewind, to refresh, it's just so important just of being, everything is not for you to share or to take on. It's all about protection. That's why even in any relationship, this is not just romantic relationships. This is, friendships as well. And that is why I'm saying all this for a purpose, Dr. Rhonda, because I do know that I've been in, I was a person who I had issues with women, because of the relationship with my mom and my sisters. That's why I talk a lot about, I told you, family dynamics in my book, because it had a purpose, because things like that, it manifested how I had relationships with other women. My relationship with my father manifested in how I had relationship with men. And so what helped me and what has been growing me as a person is the idea of self-preservation. You know, I know now that I take care of myself in my hobbies, and I take care of my spiritual health. And I know that if I want a relationship with anybody, that's where they're going to find me at. You're going to find me doing the things that I love to do. And so when you get around me, you know what I'm about. So that's why, and it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's good to practice it in a relationship.
Oh my goodness, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2nd.
Mm-hmm. And I say that because, you know, even in relationships, it has to be, that's why you see a lot of women who you would know once you practice self-preservation, it's like you would see anything, like it's like your discernment, you know what you want. That's how you strengthen your discernment, because you know what you want, because you sit with yourself and you practice spiritual health, behavioral health. You practice these things because you learn what you like. A man coming into your life telling you that he don't want you doing this or wearing this or doing that, you're not gonna fall for it. You're not gonna say, oh well, he wants me to do this, because you know yourself. You know that, you know, I know who I am, and I know that you're a person who is threatening that part of me, so you're not the person for me. You know that you have a friendship, you know, with the person who is having. Mm-hmm.
I was just saying, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because often people think that abuse is only physical, and abuse is not only physical. Abuse can be mental, it can be psychological, it can be all kinds of forms. You know, just like what you said, if somebody's coming into your life, whether it's a man or a woman, if they're coming into your life trying to tell you what you can and cannot do, that is a form of abuse. So it's good that you recognize that, and I'm glad that you were bringing this up tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Because I told you in my book, I talk a lot. Those are things I'm speaking, like in my book, I'm speaking from the perspective of a young adolescent. You know, these are the things that I seen as a child, you know, and I didn't have a name for them then. You know, I couldn't, you know, I didn't know what it was, but I can describe what it looked like and what it felt like. But as an adult, I even my father, I recognized things that a relationship that I held on to like this that I never had, but it haunted me for so long, you know, that I didn't have that relationship. But now I'm a mom and I have my own issues. I know who my father was. You know, it's like, oh, okay, he was one of them. And all this time, you know, I can move on with my life with that understanding that it was never me. It was who he was. You know, that's just who he was. So I just wanted to bring that forward.
I'm glad that you did. And it's amazing that you've come to this realization at such a young age. I think I heard you a little earlier say you're not even 30 yet.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what gets me, you know, that's why I feel like it's my purpose, you know, it's really my purpose.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are my age. I'm 50, and there are people who are my age and older who are just learning these things. So for you to have learned this at such a young age is really a great thing, and it's something that you'll be able to pass on to your children and hopefully the people who read this book, which is called Two-Phase.
Two-phase. It's like being phased, two-phase, or phases. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to put it in the comments because you might be looking for it spelled one way when it's actually spelled a different way. So it's called Two-Phase.
Yes, like I love that. Look at it. I love that play on words. This is my baby, honestly. Like, this is my baby. I'm so proud of myself, Dr. Rhonda, for even publishing it, because I told you it gave me such anxiety because this, like you said, it's nonfiction. You know, people don't know these are things that people never would have suspected about me. I had my educators read it. One of my long lost teachers, she was one of my favorite teachers, and she got her hand on it, and she just had called me like, oh my goodness. And then I was like, yeah, she was like, it has opened my eyes, it has grown me, you know, because she's like, you know, you see children, she's like, I didn't see you like that when you came to my classroom. I could never get any of this. Like, I couldn't have imagined this was you. And I was like, you know, children who come into your classroom, especially educators who work in those type of communities, it's more than, you know, the reason they don't have a pencil, or, you know, and it's also for people who in the church, you know, because everybody wants to know what's going on these days. And I feel like in this book, it's a lot of what's going on these days, you know, that still to this day, like I said, it's a cycle. Well, and I talked about the guidances as well.
Well, author Daphne Jackson, thank you so much for sharing your story with the world, and thank you for being a guest in the Horizons Author Lounge tonight. We wish you all the
Thank you.
best in everything that you do. Um, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it to Alabama for Sexy with the Pen, but you will see me in some type of way because I will be supporting my girl Tracy. So you'll see me some kind of way. It just might not be in person, but you won't see me. But once
That's
again,
what's up.
yes, absolutely. Thank you once
Thank
again
you.
for joining me tonight. God bless you and all that you do, and we will meet again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, you have a wonderful evening.
You too.
All right, y'all, we have come to the end of the Horizons Author Lounge. I hope you enjoyed our guest, author Daphne Jackson, as well as Chanel Wesley. I had a good time tonight, and I hope you guys did as well. Um, One more comment, Dr. Velma. It was a pleasure to hear. And she said she enjoyed it. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Join us once again next week. Remember, I've already mentioned Dr. LaTracy will be on the show. So you guys have to see this. If you don't know who Dr. LaTracy is, she is the CEO of Black Authors Rock, and she has some amazing things coming up, and I want you guys to be a part of it. So make sure you guys tune in next week. Also, make sure you tune in tomorrow night to the Black Authors Matter TV, which will be on the National Black Book Festival Facebook page. That starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and I want to see you guys there. So that is all we have for tonight. Don't forget to contact me about getting some exposure to support Miss Beautiful Lawson in her quest to be National All-American Miss. And that's all I have for tonight. God bless you guys, and we will see you again soon.